The Zombies mode is a long-standing tradition in the Call of Duty franchise. Since its inception back in World at War in 2008, we have gotten a Zombies mode in nearly every single game. From World at War to Black Ops 6 is a span of 17 games. Within those games, we've gotten zombies in 12 of those. 13 if you want to count Extinction from CoD Ghosts. All of this is to say that the Zombies mode is a long-standing mode with a lot of history and story in the Call of Duty franchise. If you're talking just Treyarch-led Zombies games, we've had a total of 8 entries into the storyline. Those games being World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, Cold War, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 6 up until this point. And while there are some major differences in the storyline within these games, they are all interconnected in some way. Meaning if you want to envelop yourself in the story of CoD Zombies, at least the Treyarch version, you need to go back to the original mode from World at War. Black Ops 4 was supposed to close out the story as we know it, being the Ether story, and usher in a new era known as the Dark Ether storyline. The issue with this is if you look at the Dark Ether as a whole new story in which we reset, you would be wrong. The Dark Ether appears to be canon within the overarching story from World at War. And while it took a while to get there, if you want to learn everything there is to know about the story, you have a lot of work cut out for you. You could, in theory, start with any game post Black Ops 4 and understand what's going on. But if you care about the story and want to know everything there is to know, you have to go back much further. Because while the Dark Ether is a soft reboot of sorts, the prior events are still important, and there is a lot to learn if you care about it. The zombie storyline started off simple enough. Nazis experimented on making a super soldier of sorts, ended up finding element 115, which created the zombies. On top of a lot of other experiments, this was just the gist of it. It's easy enough to follow, and there was enough lore in the games to flesh out the world and storyline even further. It slowly cascaded into even more fantastical ideas, eventually involving things like cults, dragons, time travel, and multiverses, just to name a few. It started to get very convoluted later down the line. All of this is to say that the zombie storyline is in need of a full reset. Not a soft reboot, a full-on, start-from-scratch reset. The zombie story as we know it is super convoluted and has strayed so far away from the simplicity of what it started with. I personally believe we would definitely benefit from a full reset. Start from scratch with all new characters and story. Go back to the basics. I say this because I'm a huge fan of the Call of Duty franchise and the Treyarch storyline that's going on with the Zombies games. But as the games have progressed, it's gotten so confusing and convoluted that it genuinely can be pretty annoying and difficult to keep up with. Like I said, it used to start off with just World War II experiments, and then slowly evolved into fantastical beings and demigods and multiverses and things of that sorts. So if you really want to get engaged into the storyline, there's so much to keep track of, and the storyline is just so confusing with so many different twists and turns and intersections that it really does take a lot to try to figure out what's going on. Of course, there are people on YouTube or Reddit or even the official story timeline that they released back in Black Ops 3. There's still so much to learn. I'm a huge fan of the CoD Zombie series and would love to see it continue, but I would like to see it continue in going back to that basic mode. Start it off fresh with a whole new set of characters that we know nothing about, flesh out the world, and make it a dark story kinda like how it was in Black Ops 1 and World at War. Make it about experiments, make it about these things. I don't want it to dive too deep into the fantastical worlds where we got dragons and gods and multiverses. To me, while Zombies is obviously unrealistic, all of those extra things just seem so weird to me. Like, I can suspend my disbelief for a game about zombies, but dragons for some reason really took me out of it. And then you started to get into that confusing multiverse thing, which in some aspects feels like a cop-out in a lot of stories because a multiverse insinuates that any reality is possible and can and will happen. Therefore, you could in theory make a map or storyline about anything, but does it really matter when you can just hop to another universe? I would like going back to just One single timeline. Don't get super crazy with all these different storylines. Let's get a crew, let's get some different factions, and see where this story can take us. I would genuinely love to see a full Zombies reset. I know it would be difficult to part with the old storyline because there's so much history involved with it, but there comes a point where they just need to put it all to rest. Because it seems like every few years they're bringing back characters that we used to like in these old games just to try to have some fan service and something that will make you play the game, because some of their other ideas haven't stuck all that well. So they need something that they know is going to get players' attention. Starting off fresh with a whole new story, as has been tried with other CoD Zombies installments that weren't led by Treyarch, has led to varying degrees of success. I actually really enjoyed Infinite Warfare Zombies. It was a self-contained story. Again, was a little bit confusing, but it was in the span of one game. Call of Duty World War II also had its own self-contained story, a little bit darker than what we see with the Treyarch games, but while it wasn't the best Zombies experience, I did appreciate the attempt and the effort at making a new story within Zombies. I think we would just really benefit from having a whole new Zombies cast that has nothing to do with anything we've seen before. Once again, go back to the basics. I know it's hard to let go of the past, but I think for the sake of the community going forward and any new fans that are coming for the series, I think it would be a really big benefit. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you fans of CoD Zombies? Let's continue this discussion. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheerio, mates.